Good evening and welcome to the Township of Clark Public Council meeting. It's Monday, December 18th, 7:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Here.
Councilman Hund.
Here.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Here.
Councilman Minetti.
Here.
Councilman O'Connor.
Here.
Councilman Toll.
Here.
Council President Smith.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, as adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by mailing the annual schedule of meetings to the Star-Ledger, Union County Hawk, Union County Local Source, and Tappan to Clark, by posting such annual meeting schedule on the bulletin board in Town Hall reserved for such announcements, the official website of the Township, and the proper filing of said notice. Formal action may be taken at this meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the regular order of business. Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Second, Councilman Hund. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're going to do the presentation of the Eagle Scout resolution to Anthony Rizzoli.
Okay. Do you want to go up to the podium with him and... Thank you. Whereas Anthony Rizzoli made an outstanding presentation to the Township Council on Monday, December 4th, 2023, outlining his proposed Eagle Scout project for the restoration of Bianco Park and has requested project authorization. And whereas one of the rank requirements is to plan, develop, and give leadership to others in a service project helpful to any religious institution, school, or community. And whereas Anthony plans to lead the design and construction of 2 park benches to preserve and enhance the open space and create new signposts with QR codes to provide video demonstrations on how to use the pre-existing exercise equipment. And whereas what is most important is the impact or benefit the project will provide to the community. And whereas Anthony's efforts in conjunction with the Boy Scouts of America troop and volunteers will positively impact the community by providing an updated, peaceful outdoor area to enjoy. Now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of the Township of Clark, County of Union, State of New Jersey, that authorization is hereby granted to Anthony Rizzoli to proceed with his plans for the Bianco Park restoration as here and above described, and be it further resolved that the Mayor, Township Council, and residents of the community wish Anthony much success not only in this endeavor, but in all of his future aspirations.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I want to congratulate Anthony, and here's the certificate that we're going to give him tonight. So that's for you. I want to congratulate Anthony. All the mental hard work was done. Now you got all the physical hard work before you. So whatever you need from the township to help you with this project, please reach out to the clerk or any one of the council members, and we'll see what we can do to help you out with that. But it's a great project. I'm looking forward to the conclusion of it and the final results of this great project. And I believe you want to go through a brief presentation?
Oh, yes. So, thank you all for coming here tonight. Good evening. I just want to start off by saying thank you, everyone, the council included, for the support to being here tonight. So, just a quick rundown. The park is located on Lexington Boulevard, and as you might not know, it's been pretty run down over the years, and it could use a restoration, as I'm going to do. So I'm working towards my Eagle Scout project, and I'm going to be with the Boy Scouts to do this project, and I'm very happy that I have this opportunity to preserve my community and to improve it. So thank you all for coming here tonight and for supporting me.
Can you take a picture? Yep. Come stand over here on the side. Yep. So she wants to take a picture. Yep. Yeah, hold your certificate. Need a motion to resume the regular order of business?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Albanese, second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Minetti. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we're going to move to communications and reports from township officers. Councilwoman Albanese.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to give the library report I received from our director, Megan Kolochik, regarding some of the programs coming up. But first, let me update you that we've had a total of 7,105 visitors at the library in November and recorded 8,436 visits to the library website. So I'll tell you now about some of the upcoming events. Thanks to a generous donation from the Friends of the Library, Clark Public Library, tomorrow night, on Tuesday, December 19th at 7 p.m., they'll present a raconteur radio show, A Christmas Carol. And these radio dramas have been very well attended, and the performances are fantastic. So I encourage you all to come and listen to an adaptation of Charles Dickens's Holiday Ghost Story, and suitable for ages 10 and up. Other programs coming up: Drop-In New Year's Craft for kids ages 3 through 12 will be held on Thursday, December 28th from 2 to 4. And Cozy Comfort Night at the library will be held for all ages, and that's from 6:30 to 8. And that's also being hosted by the Friends of the Library, where you can indulge in creating your own specialized hot chocolate and cocoa at their cocoa station. Enjoy a cozy movie. Again, all ages for that program. Fingerprint painting will be held Friday, December 29th, 10 a.m. for ages 2 through 9 during the school holiday. USA Karate and Fitness Board breaking class will be held on Thursday, January 4th at 4 p.m. for ages 4 through 12. And the Lego Masters Builders will be held on Friday, January 19th at 3:15, which is an ongoing program where you have an opportunity to unleash your creativity and build your own Lego creation, which will be put on display at the library. And that program is for ages 5 through 12. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Hund.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have the Clark Police Department monthly report for November 2023. We saw a total of 2,667 calls for service, including but not limited to 4 Arrive, which is for mental health requests, 146 ambulance requests, 4 fire department requests, 1 criminal mischief, 1 criminal trespassing, 11 motor vehicle and residential lockouts, 89 alarm calls, 84 motor vehicle accidents, 29 shoplifting and theft, 24 fraud, identity theft, 205 were 9/11 calls, and 1,875 were miscellaneous calls. There was a total of 23 adult arrests, including but not limited to 13 for shoplifting, 3 for DUI, and 1 for simple assault. The Youth Bureau handled a total of 17 cases, including but not limited to 2 juvenile arrests for burglary. In addition, they completed in-house dispositions, including but not limited to 2 for harassment, 4 for offenses against family, and 2 for terroristic threats. And that concludes my report for the month of November.
Thank you. Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes, thank you, Council President. It's my DPW report for this evening. All services that have been completed for 2023 are grass, branches, bulky, appliance pickup, and electronic drop-off. Leaf pickup will end this week, which has started their final sweep this morning. We have already picked up 5,000 yards of leaves, swept every road in our town 3 times, and will make a final sweep at the end of this week after leaf pickup has ended. Okay. Please remove all nets from the roadway to avoid damage to them. We're approaching storm season, which is snow for removal. We don't want to have any damage to your nets or our equipment. So please make note to remove them all, and for street sweeping efforts as well. Christmas tree pickup begins January 8th to 31st, 2024. All decorations, lights, and stands must be removed. Please remember this, and no bags will be accepted. Electronic drop-off will be on January 27th, 2024, weather permitting. Spring cleanup will begin mid-March through April on 2024, weather permitting, of course. Bulky and appliance pickup starts March 2024, again, weather permitting. Appointments required the week before your scheduled pickup. And so to arrange for any appointments or anything, email dpw@ourclark.com for more information, or www.ourclark.com for all schedules and pickups. Thank you. That's the extent of my report.
Thank you, Councilman Minetti.
Thank you, Council President. In the month of November, the Clark Fire Department responded to 47 calls. That's totaling 488 for the year. The calls included, but are not limited to, numerous odor and alarm calls. Two calls were related to brush or leaf fires, and 3 calls related to motor vehicle incidents, where 2 entrapments. Fortunately, there was no serious injuries. As always, I'd like to thank all the members of the Clark Fire Department for their hard work in keeping our town safe. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor.
Thank you very much. From the Finance Committee, the Township continues to be able to meet its current obligations, and I have not received the squad report yet from the emergency squad. That concludes my reports. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Toll.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the Environmental Commission, Mark Hayden, the director, has informed me that the meeting for this Thursday, the 20th, has been canceled. He wants to wish everyone a happy and healthy holidays. We'll be back in next year doing all those environmental, mother-friendly endeavors. That's my report for tonight. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. From the Pool and Recreation Departments, it's not too late to sign up for the Holiday House Decorating Contest. Contact Emily in the Recreation Office at 732-428-8400 if you would like to have your house added to the list, and winners will be rewarded for traditional, outrageous, and overall favorites. The Clark Family Skate Night will be on Saturday, January 13th. Tickets are $5 each and are available at the Recreation Office in Town Hall. As in the past, Clark has rented the entire Warren Ankle skating rink in Roselle for Clark residents only. And the Devils hockey team will have hockey night with Clark on Wednesday, January 17th at the Prudential Center in Newark. Again, contact the Recreation Department if you are interested in purchasing tickets. And registration for winter programs is taking place now. Please register online on the Township website at ourclark.com under the Recreation tab. And that concludes my report for this evening. When you're ready, Madam Clerk, we can move to ordinances, appropriations, and claims.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the record, no objections have been received in connection with the proposed ordinances. The first is Ordinance 23-34, an ordinance to amend and supplement Section 2 entitled Fees of Chapter 122 entitled Construction Codes Uniform of the Code of the Township of Clark.
At this time, I'd like to open up the meeting to the public on this ordinance only. If you'd like to come up and have any questions or would like to discuss this ordinance, please come forward, state your name, address to the clerk, and you have 5 minutes in duration. Okay, seeing no one coming up for this ordinance, I'd like a motion to close this portion. Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Can I get a second?
Second?
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, I'd like to direct the motion to adopt the ordinance.
I'd like to move that, please.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor.
Second that, please.
And thank you, Councilman Hun. Any discussion? Jim, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so just to reiterate what we discussed last time, it is primarily to add elevator inspection fees and the electronic fees so you could submit plans and also be able to set up appointments for inspections, et cetera, online. As we discussed last time, there were 2 bills, one in the Assembly, one in the Senate, that actually made it out of committee to permit electronic signatures for both plumbing and electrical contractors. So hopefully, if these pass, we'll be able to accept all plans, all development applications electronically and start moving away from the paper-based, plan submissions. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted.
I believe number 2, we're going to pull off the agenda, so can I get a motion?
I'll move that, sir.
So thank you, Councilman Toll. Can I get a second to pull that? Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. We have to do a roll call for that, Madam Clerk?
Yes, hold on.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And that was Toll Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Ordinance is tabled.
Mr. President, may I give a comment on that, please?
Sure, go ahead.
A resident in the area came to me and asked me to have the issue reviewed again by our legal. So we've asked a motion to set it aside. It's about selling off a parcel, and it was a question about the history of the property. So we're going to get that answered properly, and then a legal clarification of it, and bring it up for January's meeting. That's what this is about, folks. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. Move on to payment of claims. Councilman O'Connor.
Thank you. I have reviewed the bills for the month totaling $333,787.07.
Great, thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to have the citizens' hearing on the agenda. So I'm going to open the meeting up to anyone who would like to come up and speak about any agenda item. Each person addressing the council shall give their name and address to the clerk and address the council as a body and shall not exceed 5 minutes in duration. Would anyone like to come forward on agenda items? Hi, good evening.
My name is Joan Peters, and I live at 1445 Westfield Avenue in Clark.
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. I'm sorry.
Joan Peters. The last time I was...
Joan, can you lower the microphone closer so we could hear you?
Is that better?
We can move a little closer to it if you can.
Stand on.
There we go. That's it? Okay, thank you.
Okay, now it's much better. So the last time I was here, you all voted before explained what it was, so I'm just taking the opportunity to ask what number 4 is. First of all, what does municipal advisor and continuing disclosure of services mean? And how do you pick something like Phoenix Advisors?
Jim, do you want to?
Yeah. So Phoenix Advisors is, they advise us on our bond offerings. They also identify, so we have to have certain disclosures based on budgets, how much money we have in debt, and things along those lines. And they do all of those disclosures for us.
Oh, okay.
And if I could add to that, so they do all the SEC disclosures of all the bands that are sold, the QSIPs, et cetera.
Okay.
And all if we're involved in any transactions that need to be disclosed to the SEC, they take care of that as well.
Okay.
So it requires additional expertise, and they have that expertise.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Delia Collins, 72 Georgia Street, Clark. I just wanted a clarification. The question that I have is on number 3, but it says above that if it does not have its own public hearing, and then this one mentions it is a public hearing. So can I talk about that now?
Yes, good.
Okay. I'd like to know, okay, is this for 2024 through 2025?
I can answer that. So they're on a fiscal year basis, consistent with the federal government. These are for CDGB Community Development Block grants that we get from the federal government. Because our population is less than 50,000, we participate as a group with the county, and we have been getting social service monies, and also any ADA grants that we apply for, and or such as sidewalk ramps. I don't have the exact dates. We can get that for you, but it's usually, I believe it's September, correct?
Yeah, I have
September
that
1st to August 31st.
Yeah, from the county website, and it says, excuse me a moment, it says September 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Right, so the process starts now so that we can put in the applications. Councilman Toll and myself are on the different committees that represent the township. We attend the meetings each month, and in usually February or March, they'll have their committee, the committees will join together and make recommendations. And then the county has a hearing on what each of the committees approves. Okay, and then the process begins so that everything has to be put in place, and then the work is done after the fact, after everything is approved. So it's a year ahead. We're working on items that are going to happen in the future.
Okay.
Okay.
Can the public have a say, or can the public have some type of input into this application, or is it something that's presented by the council to the county?
The township gives input to the county. They fill out the applications. For recent years, there's been a lot of concern about cuts in federal grants, and there have been reductions over time by the federal government in the amounts that are awarded. So we get subsidies for example, the athletic director, correct? In
The classes, also the senior bus driver and things along those lines.
So we're getting supplements to defray costs of certain personnel that our BA just mentioned, Mr. Ulrich, for the bus driver and also for the gym. In addition, we also apply for ADA ramps in certain areas in the town, and we've been pretty successful in getting our fair share of what we can get.
Okay, so the money comes from HUD through the county?
Comes from the federal government. It's a block grant program that the federal government has.
Right.
And we apply, make the applications. The committees of the different, there are many, many committees. We sit on 2 committees where our applications are reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the committee of the county representatives make a recommendation to the total committee, and either they agree or not. Okay, but usually they'll approve what the committees recommend. Then it goes to a public hearing that the county has.
Okay.
I'd be happy to talk to you afterwards about
So you're
what we qualify for. We don't have lower income to get road reimbursements. We have had grants in the past for items at the library, whether it's, fountains for handicapped. Usually we can get awards for handicapped type things. ADA compliance.
So is there any way for the public to know what you're asking for?
So we always vote on those items. They always come up, the applications. That's what this is.
Okay, so your resolution here is just,
We're submitting the application for funding, so you can look at those applications.
so you haven't submitted any type of programs yet to them? That will be...
These are the applications.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Delia.
Good evening, Frank Makoshe, M-A-K-O-S-I-E-J, 12 Kennedy Drive, Clark, New Jersey, 07066. 3 things. Anthony Rosilli, I think it's great that we have an Eagle Scout doing a project, being supported. My suggestion, Edie, would be when you put the minutes out, just put the address for where Bianco Park is, so I can probably guarantee that most
Yeah,
people.
you want the address for Bianco Park, is that what you said?
I would put it in the minutes because most people probably don't know where it is. I mean, he did say Lexington, but it's nice to get the youth recognized, et cetera. Number two, Brian, I think you mentioned the 2335 ordinance is tabled until January.
Will be, yeah.
Okay. My comment on that one was going to be that, well, maybe sort of a question. Do we believe in the assessor's work and how they've done that work? Right, we had a town-wide reevaluation. My property, other properties were revalued. For the record, according to the website, that property is valued as $150,000. I'm sorry, $150,800, but yet the minimum bid is $75,000. It's 0.4476 of an acre. It's probably 50 by 206. Maybe a little bit difficult to build on, but I'm not sure why we would not respect what our market reassessment folks did. Just put it out there as a question. I know it's being tabled. Last item comes down to items 10, right? Various professional awards being given. I'll just pick two at random. You have an auditor, PKF O'Tana Davies, like them, good people. Is there a max there, a rate there? The agenda is kind of silent on that. So just putting it out there. And I guess maybe we have Grotto Engineering for engineering services. Would that be for all engineering services, including traffic? Or who would do traffic, and how and when is traffic awarded engineering?
You want
You
to?
mean like building a red light, or what type of traffic
So, for
engineering? I'm
example,
not sure I understand
we'll
the
talk about
question.
it later. I don't want to encroach on my time here, but the council has done some great things. Finally, found some money to buy speed feedback readout signs, which is great. We have 3. I believe other towns like us, Westfield, have 30. Just trying to figure out what's appropriate, what isn't. I would imagine that a traffic engineer would be appropriate for that. Brian, you and I have spoken about traffic issues, which is why I asked, would that Grotto Engineering be doing traffic engineering, or somebody else, as an example?
Okay, so the first question is regarding the auditor. So we have a fixed price with the auditor. It's $69,750 for the annual audit, and that if we have to have a single audit under the Uniform Guidance Code, it's going to be an extra $8,000. We usually don't have to do it. It just depends on our expenses and our, so that's a lump sum bid. The other thing regarding the engineer and the traffic, the engineer pretty much coordinates our traffic. We don't have a separate traffic because we don't have, the engineer runs that type of service. So if there's any questions with regard to where we could put a traffic light, if the egress is correct on one of the buildings, we bring in a traffic engineer to support the township's opinion on that. So we don't, so I wouldn't go directly to a traffic engineer because it's application specific. So we have a township engineer for anything that's related to engineering, and then they are hired through, well, in this case, we're going to award it to Grotto, so it will be Grotto.
Okay. So I follow that pretty well. There's a zoning board or a planning board issue, you bring a traffic engineer in as needed. Let's just say I and other neighbors have some issues about traffic calming, conversations I've had with Captain Lott and others, and we're looking for an engineer's opinion. Would that go through Grotto, or would that go through the other traffic engineer?
That would still go through Grotto to the engineer, to the traffic engineer. So as a township engineer, we're not going to deal with any type of traffic calming because that's still an engineering responsibility. So we're not going to deal with any of that specifically, no different than, road paving, no different than any other services that we provide. They all go through the engineering department. And, if there is a need for, bringing in an engineer to look at traffic, specifically, that's when we hire them.
So you would be able to use Mr. Troutman outside of Grotto? Is that my understanding correct?
There will be a charge, but yes, we can use if there's, if you have a need for, some type of engineering services, or we have a need for any type of engineering services, and it includes traffic, that's when we would engage.
Okay, good.
It doesn't have to be a planning board or a zoning board. If we want to, for argument's sake, change the configuration of the parking lot here, and there's a question on it, we would, engage a traffic engineer.
Yeah, when I spoke to the engineer at Rutgers at their Center for Infrastructure Technology, he said, really the issues you're having, speaking to the police is a waste of your time. It's really the engineer that makes the decisions in regards to how things are configured, et cetera. So
Yeah,
that's why I asked that question.
You could do things 100 different ways. We choose to do it through the engineer because speaking to me about specific traffic issues is, I won't say useless, but I'm not the engineer. I don't understand what the codes are. And as you know, there's codes with, how much clearance you need on a circle, your traffic calming circles that you're talking about, how big or how high, how wide a speed bump needs to be, and things along those lines. I'm not the engineer. I'm not the expert. That's why we go through the engineering for all of these services.
That's what I'm looking at, getting the right expert to provide an opinion, because, as you say, I'm not an expert in anything traffic, so we need somebody like that. So
Mr.
it
President?
would be
So
something.
we also need to make sure that there is a need for such services, right?
Thank you.
Okay, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
we've spoken, so I just wanted, I saw Grotto on the agenda, so I wanted to make sure that we had resources available to us. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Mr. President, if I could just add something.
Go ahead,
I
Counsel.
guess one way to look at the engineer is that we don't warrant having a full-time engineer employed by the township. So we hire the engineer, and then, as Mr. Ulrich said, any engineering questions then go to our engineer.
Good evening, Michael Schulman, 382 Carolina Street. Regarding agenda item 10 as well, the awarding of professional services contracts, wanted to address, and sorry if it's uncomfortable, Mr. Dugan, but the rehiring of Triarci Betancourt. This is a firm that has now, we know, provided incorrect legal advice on multiple occasions to the town. From the AG report, we know it provided incorrect legal services regarding the health insurance issues that were in the newspaper 2 weeks ago. It provided incorrect legal services to the point where Joe Triarci was sent to the ethics board. This town, nevertheless, is rehiring this same law firm. It's flabbergasting. It's frankly insulting. There are lots and lots of firms with conservative ties that I'm sure this board and this council would be very happy with. But to continue to put faith in a firm that has objectively failed this town council and the town as a whole, costing us millions of dollars, is, I think, in need of explanation. So if that can be set forth tonight, I think it would be very helpful in explaining why, particularly when we now know the office also is not handling OPA requests. We have another lawyer for that. It also isn't handling anything regarding the continued AG investigation. It's walled off from that. So we have a town attorney who, in essence, I guess is handling municipal appeals at this point, and not doing the bulk of the work that's required. You now look at our professional services list, and more than half of it are attorneys. That is inexcusable, and it makes this town look like it can't get its act together. So I think an explanation would be warranted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schulman. Okay, at this point, seeing no one else come further, a motion to close this portion.
Move.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Second.
Second?
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're going to move on to resolutions.
Thank you. The first resolution is a public hearing authorizing the submission of an application for funding for Year 50 Community Development Block Grant Program.
This time, I'm going to open this up to the public hearing. If anyone would like to come forward, give their name and address to the clerk. You have 5 minutes or duration to speak about this resolution. Anyone else like to come forward regarding this? Okay, seeing no one, a motion to close the public hearing. Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Second.
Second?
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This time, I'd like a motion to adopt the resolution. I believe we're going to do an entire council because of the grant for the Senior Citizen ADA ramp project. So entire council, first and second. Any discussion?
I think we discussed it enough.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody
Roll
else has
call.
questions?
Yep. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Okay, number 4 is authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Phoenix Advisors, LLC, for professional services as the municipal advisor and continuing disclosure services, effective January 1st, 2024, for a 1-year period.
Can I get a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion, please.
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. Any discussion? Jim, do you have anything else to add on this?
No, I think we went into sufficient detail unless someone else has questions.
All right. Thank you. I'm good. All right, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
5 is establishing a procurement card program and appointing the chief financial officer as the procurement card program manager.
Can I get a motion?
Yes, I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Thank you, Councilman Hunt, for the second. Any discussion? Jim, you want to add to this?
This is something we're going to add to the finance office, and yeah, it's really a credit card to pay for small purchases. It's also advantage if we had to pay for something in advance, and if there's an issue with it, we obviously have recourse as opposed to mailing out a check. There's going to be a $10,000 limit, and it goes through the same control process as any other expenditures, so it goes through the CFO and signed off as being appropriate. And it will be eligible for bonded employees, so anybody who has access to it has to be bonded, and they also have to take training prior to being able to utilize the credit card.
Great, thank you. Roll call?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 6 is authorizing the chief financial officer to cancel the remaining balance in the Municipal Alliance grant in the amount of $4,606.69 for the period July 2022 through June 2023.
Can I get a motion?
I'd like to move that, please.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Second, please.
Second that.
Thank you, Councilman Minetti. Any discussion?
I mean, it's just funds that we didn't need. It came in cheaper than we thought.
All right. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 7 is the council as the ABC Board authorizing Rotundos and Wine Anthology to extend their business hours until 10 p.m. on Sunday, December 24th and Sunday, December 31st, 2023.
Get a motion?
Yes, I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Get a second?
I'll move that. I'll second.
Thank you, Councilman Tolles. Anyone have any questions or discussion on this?
Yeah, this is just a convenience for our 2 liquor stores in town that want to stay open just prior to the holidays, a little bit later.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Maniti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 8 is award of on-call general contractors list through a fair and open process for 2024.
You get a motion?
I'll move that, please.
Thank you, Councilman Hund. Can I get a second?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman Minetti. And any discussion?
Yeah, I mean, these are just services that we need as the township. We went out to bid for them in the event of an emergency or some additional work that needs to be done. We have their prices, and they bid against each other to, come up with the best prices.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Maniti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 9 is award of contract for information technology and network support services through a fair and open process for 2024.
I get a motion?
Yes, I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella, second.
Second?
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. Any discussion or questions? Jim, you want to?
Yeah, this is, again, we went out to bid. 4 companies came back with various pricing. While LawSoft was not the least expensive, they were giving us 24/7 coverage at no additional charge versus $300 an hour for the others. And as more and more people are working from home and doing things and accessing the system, that is important. The other major difference is every time we roll out a PC, we were being charged $350. So anytime they had to set up a PC, that's all inclusive in the rate with LawSoft. Finally, LawSoft has been the IT technology supplier for the police department for the last 14 years, since 2010, and they had a really good performance and relationship with them. And in this way now we only deal with one issue, one provider. If there's an issue here, if there's an issue across the street, if it's a combination, we don't get into whose issue it is. Right? You have one provider to deal with all of that. So that's why it makes sense to make this change, irrespective of them not being the cheapest.
Great, thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Maniti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 10 is award of professional services contracts through a fair and open process for 2024. Auditor, PKF O'Connor Davies, LLP. Engineering Services, Grotto Engineering Associates, LLC. Professional Planner, Ricky Planning, LLC. Labor Attorney, Abruzzi, McDermott, Mastro, and Murphy, PC. Bond Counsel, Rogut McCarthy, LLC. Special Counsel, Triarci, Betancourt, Wukovitz, and Dugan, LLC. And Oprah Counsel, LaCourte, Bundy, Varity, and Kinsella.
Thank you. Can I get a motion?
I'd like to move that, please.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Get a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. Any discussion? Jim, you have anything to add?
These are our annual updates. We send out bids to, we put it up on our website. We send it out to, multiple firms, and we evaluate the bids for the pricing and service, and these are the selections.
Great, thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Maniti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 11 is approving and ratifying a memorandum of agreement between the Township and PBA Local 125, a successor agreement to the 2020-2023 contract.
That, please.
Thank you, Councilman Hund. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is the culmination of our negotiations with the PBA. These identify all the changes between the current contract and going to be the new contract. It's going to be drafted up within the next month or so between the PBA attorneys and our labor attorneys, and we'll get the final document. But in this way, it details all of the changes, and we'll be able to get the salary increases implemented for January 1st and all the terms in here. Some of them being, controlling forced overtime and things along those lines that we want to address as soon as possible.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 12 is approving and ratifying a memorandum of agreement between the Township and Union Council Number 8 representing white-collar employees effective January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2027.
Get a motion?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman
I'll
O'Connor.
second that.
Thank you, Councilman Hund. Any discussion? Jim, anything to add to this?
It is the same thing, except for the white-collar employees versus the PBA.
Great, thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
13 is authorizing final payment to Field Turf USA Incorporated for the ALJ tennis court improvements in the amount of $59,634.33.
Get a motion?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Minetti. Any discussion? Jim, anything to add?
No, it was inspected by the engineer, and everything has been verified to be complete, and, we could make the final payment.
Great, thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
14 is amending Resolution 23-174 to cancel the workshop meeting previously scheduled to be held on January 2nd, 2024.
You get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. Second is Councilman Hund. Jim, you have anything to add on that?
No, it's self-explanatory.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti. Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Fifteen is authorizing the provision of a grant pursuant to the Township of Clark Affordable Assistance Program for the tenants of the following affordable housing units: 1025 Raritan Road, Unit 306, 25 Walnut Avenue, Unit 125, and 25 Walnut Avenue, Unit 306.
Get a motion? Thank you, Councilman Hund. And Councilman Minetti, you want to second that? Okay, thank you, Councilman Minetti. Any discussion?
This is the same that we've been doing for, the last couple of months. We make payments for affordable housing and their first month rent.
Great, thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti. Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Consent agenda resolutions. The first is authorizing the tax collector to refund overpayment of taxes in the amount of $9,758.91. Next is authorizing the tax collector to refund overpayment of sewer fees in the amount of $2,205. And lastly is authorizing the police chief to issue clothing bin permits for the year 2024.
Get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll move that, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. Get a second?
Second that, please.
Thank you, Councilman Hund. Roll call?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes. Is there any new business on the calendar?
There is no new business.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to move to the public comments. You can come up, speak about anything you would like. You have 5 minutes in duration. Please give your name and address to the clerk. All remarks should be addressed to the council as a body and shall not exceed 5 minutes of duration.
Good evening, Council. My name is Colin Curran. I'm a resident of Rahway, and I'm a nurse at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital in New Brunswick. I have come here this evening to request that you, the Township Council, as leaders in our community, pass a resolution in support of state legislation to establish minimum professional nurse staffing standards in our hospitals, namely Bill A4536 in the State Assembly and S304 in the Senate. I hope that all of us in this room are healthy at this time, but it's a sad fact of life that for each one of us, at some point our health will fail us. We will all end up in the hospital at some point. And when we are there, the care that we receive will be largely dependent on our nurses and on the workload of our nurses. I work on a surgical oncology unit. We have very sick patients. They have a lot of needs. On a rare good day, we might have 4 patients to a nurse, and on a more common bad day, we can have 6. And the more patients we have and the more needs each one of them has, the less likely we are to be able to meet each one of those needs for our patients. Less likely we are to be able to ambulate our patients post-surgery as much as they're required, or as likely to remember the drain output on all of their many drains, or their urine output, which are very important things to keep track of. And the less likely we'll be to notice any subtle change of status in our patients. And these patients are very vulnerable to post-surgical complications. Research also backs up these claims that the amount of patients affects the care given. There are robust studies showing that inadequate staffing is linked to greater frequency of medication errors, patient infections, and overall patient injury, whereas adequate staffing is linked with decreases in patient mortality, in rehospitalization, and in length of hospital stay. The patients I deal with also have great emotional needs, and the more overburdened we are as nurses, the less the less able we are to attend to those. I have many patients. I need to educate them and encourage them when they're anxious about their recovery. I have patients in end-of-life situations, and it's very difficult when we don't have the time to sit with the patients and their family members and to help them deal with what they're going through. For anyone who is concerned about the economic burden such legal standards would place on a hospital, I urge you to see this as a safety standard. Of course, we have codes of safety standard in building construction, in food preparation, and of course, hospitals have a countless number that they're already dealing with. And those do create some economic burden on businesses, but I believe it's a broad, almost unanimous consensus in society that some degree of standards are necessary to keep our citizens safe. And I believe these fit into that category. Our hospital had been on strike. We have now had a resolution to this strike, but we are just one hospital in this large state. I mentioned sometimes I can have 6 patients. There are other hospitals in the state where nurses can have 7, 8, 9 patients on a regular basis, possibly even more, because there is no legal limit to how many medical surgical patients in a hospital a nurse can have. The bills I mentioned earlier have been sitting in the Senate and Assembly for many years, I believe 2 decades. They've never come to a vote. They've never made it out of Assembly due to a lack of support among our elected legislators. And us nurses from Robert Wood Johnson have been visiting city township councils throughout the central Jersey region as of now, urging our municipal officials to express their support for these resolutions, for these legislation, in the hopes that this will urge our elected officials to take them seriously, to discuss them, to sponsor them, and ultimately to vote in their favor. I ask today that you place a resolution supporting this legislation on your agenda to vote on at the township's next council meeting. Passing this resolution will encourage our legislators to take this bill seriously and will demonstrate your own commitment to the health of our community members. I urge you to pass this resolution in support of state legislation A4536 and S304. Thank you for your time.
Is this the sample resolution that you gave to all the towns that you've been visiting?
Somebody should have emailed.
Yeah, we just received it, so, okay.
Yes.
We will review it, but thank you very much. Thank you for your service. I know it's, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lyubov Smirnova. I'm a resident of Mitachin. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and be able to speak. I'm a pediatric nurse for 15 years, and I'm here to bring awareness that understaffing or not safe staffing is a public health issue. We're losing a lot of nurses. We cannot retain them. I work in Robert Wood Johnson, and before I work in another pediatric hospital that also part of the Barnabas system. And I have to tell you that new nurses finish the college, they come, we train them, we orient, we do everything to make sure they stay in the hospital, and they will be our nurses when we need them. But unfortunately, 40% of nurses leave for the first year. 60% leave for the second year. And what can I tell those nurses? Because if I work on the staff, I'm not able to provide the best care I can, and I'm trained to do. And we drain at the end of the day, and we go home, and we feel that we didn't do what we're supposed to do to provide safe care. In my case, my patient can be range from newborn to 21 years old. So obviously, they came to the hospital with the parents and with the families. So this is my responsibility when the child is diagnosed with the severe illness, like diabetes or any chronic condition, to sit down and educate that family to make sure that they go home and they're able to provide safe care to that patient. Also, it's very important for me to sit with the child who doesn't have family at the bedside, or even worse, when the family not able to be with that child, but I'm not able to do that. We also, level 1 trauma hospital, we get very sick patients from any town. We also get them from different hospital. We're not turning anyone away. Doesn't matter which language do you speak. We're trying to do our best. Our training hospital, we also have a lot of residents, a lot of doctors, and it also takes time. So this is very, very important. And this is why we are here to make sure you understand what's going on in the hospital. And those bills are very, very important. I believe none of the nurses in New Jersey should do the same and literally be on the street for 4 months without insurance, just to advocate for the patient's safety. Please talk to your legislator and please pass the resolution. We need your help. This fight, it's not only ours, but it's also for the public. Thank you very much and happy holidays.
What was the percentage the first year?
40%.
40 and 60% the second year?
60% of the second year.
Wow.
75% of nurses feel that they work most of the time in New Jersey understaffed.
Right. Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Hi again. My name is Joan Peters. I'm still at 1445 Westfield Avenue. I have a question, and it was interesting that came up asking about engineering, traffic engineering. The traffic at the corner of Westfield Avenue, where it goes down and to the train tracks and meets Featherbed Lane, at least twice to 3 times a day is ridiculous. And there's only one stop sign, and it goes only one way. And I go to Clark Commons all the time, and there's a 4-way stop there, and everybody understands how that works, so it's very smooth going through the traffic. So I guess my question is, who am I supposed to bring that to? because somebody has to look at that. The mayor told us years ago, we can't put in another light, I get that. But there's a stop sign there already. Isn't it fair to have more stop signs and people take turns? Because the other thing that's happening is people are coming down Raritan Road, cutting across Schuyler, then they turn onto Featherbed. Now we've got people coming Featherbed, Westfield, and Westfield, and it's a hot mess 3 times. And it's really dangerous trying to get out onto Westfield going toward Manny's. It's really dangerous because I sit there sometimes and I think, it looks like there's nobody going straight, but maybe there's somebody going straight. So is there something somebody I can talk to, or are you guys the
Can I
ones?
interrupt a second, Joan? I believe we've done traffic studies there. I know we couldn't put a light there because the county wouldn't allow it.
I gotta find out. Part of that road's county, part of that is ours. So I know from Lambert's Mill, I think it's only to Terminal. Don't hold me to it, but I know the county road comes in somewhere. And I was just talking to, Captain Loud came in and said that a couple of things. One is the DOT is not approving 4-way stop signs for traffic control. It's very hard to get them through. And the other thing is it's really volume, and it's usually caused when there's no traffic flowing because of the trains, right? So when the train stops there, is especially around 5 o'clock, you'll see the traffic back up.
No, I agree about the train, but it's not just the train. It's the schools get out and they're coming down. It's not just the train, because it's terrible. It's 3 or 4 times a day. Dangerously terrible is my point. And it's amazing that we haven't had, and by the way, you can't have a 4-way stop sign there unless somebody has one in their driveway, because there's houses
Right.
across there.
Well, 3-way stop sign, it's a total controlled intersection with stop signs. They're very hard to get through now.
Well, is there something can we follow up though and ask, or you're just telling me no?
I can follow up and ask, but
We're going to refer it to the
see. We could
traffic
talk to
again. We'll refer it to the traffic
Okay.
department and through Jim, and then we'll see where that can go and what we can do, if anything. I know there was an accident there Saturday night, I think. I was driving by there, and there was an accident. Or, I'm sorry, Friday night there was.
And I got to tell you, we're seniors there. We don't help the situation as seniors, so we need all the help we can get to get out of the area. So what do I do to follow up to find out what the answer is?
Well, like you said, they'll send it to the traffic committee on the council, who will bring in the appropriate people, so the police department, the engineer, and see if there is a chance to even make an application, and we'll get a response to you.
I want to tell them if they want to not put the signs in, that they have to drive on that road every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan.
Good evening again. Michael Schulman, 382 Carolina Street. For what it's worth, we'll point out that our mayor is not here for a second consecutive town council meeting publicly, has not made an appearance at the other meetings as well since his criminal charges. I'm not going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to talk about what I guess you would say is the third problem this town has had in almost as many weeks, it seems. And that's on December 4th, Star-Ledger published an article about part-time employees and part-time council people who have collected health benefits, and that included 2 members of our council. Now, this law was passed back in 2010, and it changed the law, right? It said no longer just by sitting on a town council or being an elected official do you get guaranteed health insurance, but we know 5 of you were grandfathered in, 6 including the mayor. Now, despite this seismic change in the law, where it was 180 degrees, no longer will you get benefits. No one picked up on this. For both 9 and 7 years, respectively, benefits were collected to the tune of $522,000 in premiums paid by taxpayers. And how does it happen? Well, it's the same reason why everything happens in this town. A complete lack of transparency, underlying waste, fraud, and abuse that's been well documented over the last 2 years here. Our prior business administrator, before Jim, ignored it. This town council, who's supposed to look at the budget every year, ignored it. The people you hire to audit the budget and the town every year ignored it. The town attorney, who's supposed to make sure we're in compliance with municipal law, ignored it. There are no checks and balances when no one does their job. And the worst part of it is that it wasn't an oversight. There's no oversight for over $500,000 in a municipal budget. And we know this because our mayor was quoted in the article. And he said he knew about it, but it was caught when, I think the quote is, and I want to get it right here, the prior BA, I guess, didn't know the rule change because sometimes we don't get notification on everything, believe it or not. No one was notified a complete change in the law to your benefits happened. I find that incredibly difficult to believe. Multiple levels of failure took place. And we know that same mayor, who hasn't been here in 2 months, knew the law. He knew it so well because in that same article, he made sure he's quoted to say, oh, I know the law so well that my wife doesn't have to take her benefits. She gets the stipend, right? If 2 people work in the town, there's a way to get extra money. Totally legal. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But let's not pretend the mayor didn't know the law. Let's not pretend John Leza didn't know the law. Let's not pretend all of you should have been auditing the budget. Councilman O'Connor, every month, reports about the budget. Missed it. 9 years times 12 months, I'm not the math guy, but that's a whole lot of time to miss this. And our friends at Triarcy Betancourt continued to give bad advice by missing it. This town is a leaky boat. Money is pouring out in every direction, and the taxpayers cannot afford another $500,000 to go unaccounted for. So I am asking that the money be paid back. The councilman step down and resign. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schulman.
Edie, you might have to raise the volume because I could hardly hear what's going on. Can you do that on your system?
I can't do that. They can do it from the studio. They can hear us now, so if they want to...
I could hardly hear what you're saying. Anyway, for the benefit of the people that are watching on Channel 36 and people that don't know me, my name is William D. Caruso. I live at 7 School Street. I lived in Clark for over 50 years, and I went through a lot of administrations. A lot of things were done by those administrations. That's why Clark looks the way it is. And I will doubt that this administration made improvements also. Yeah, we are heading in the right direction in some cases. You know? Anyway, I'm coming to talk about one of the most important things that you're going to hear this year. After reading the newspapers and seeing all the nonsense that's going on between the mayor's personal problems, the council, believe me, I believe everybody's innocent until proven guilty. So I'm not coming up here to beat a dead horse and persecute anybody. But I'm going to tell you right now, the only solution is term limits. You people should not serve more than 2 terms. The mayor should not be in the office for 20 years. That creates corruption. All you people want to have a career in politics sitting up there. Is this your job? You have other jobs. Well, we got to change it over. Let other younger people come in and change the system. You sit up there and you grab the money every year. You don't listen to the people. And then I had to see on TV you wanted to lower the speaking time to 5 minutes. What are we doing here? Is this the Soviet Union now? You don't want people to talk? And the people on council, they knew damn well what was going on with there's no such thing as duplication of benefits. We knew that years ago. The mayor knew about it. The business administrator knew about it. Even the attorney knew about it. And yet you weren't told. You should have been told right away. Don't do it. You're going to get yourself in a jackpot. I think it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Well, anyway, we'll let the chips fall where they may. I wish the mayor was here tonight because you know he's going to cry? Oh, I wasn't there. I couldn't defend myself. Well, I'm going to tell the mayor, and I hope you're watching, Sal. You try to run again, I'll debate you everywhere. In any alley, on a street, in front of town hall, you were incompetent. You were not the mayor. Mr. John Laser was the mayor of this town. This thing was done by John Laser. And a lot of the improvement you've seen in this town was done by John Laser. This man was nothing but the poster boy. And thank God we had a great recreation commissioner because that's why you have all the programs you have today. He didn't do it. He's trying to make everybody believe he did. And if you don't like what I'm saying, challenge me to the debate. I'm happy to do it. I was a councilman here for 10 years, and I know all the rules and regulations. Some of you I served with, they know me. I tried everything I could to make the town go forward. So I want work hard to put it on the ballot. I want term limits on the ballot. Now, see if you people have the guts to support such a thing. Or do you want to stay in here until you're old, just like those dummies in Washington? Half of them are walking around in their 90s. It's ridiculous. Thank you. Before I go, I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody in the town. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do support term limits, Mr. Caruso.
Good evening. James Scolo, 73 Halliday Street.
What was the last name, James?
Scolo, S-C-O-L-L-O.
Thank you.
The last 3 weeks on my street, there's been excessive parking due to a sale of a house at 236 Broadway, right next to the firehouse. They turned the residency into a commercial. They make dental implants, and they're allowing their employees to park on our street, Grand Street, sometimes in the firehouse lot. And they're not allowing the DPW to do their job on my street. They barely pick up the leaves. I know what's going to happen when it snows.
James, can I interject a second?
Yeah, right.
We were just made aware of this. I guess Bill Sasse called me. He lives on Holiday Street, down the street from you. He called me about a week ago, and I know they contacted Councilman Hun. So regarding, I was going to ask you what the address was, and you gave it to us. 236 Broadway is the specific house.
The White House right next to the firehouse.
So what we do, we're going to turn it over to our business administrator, Jim Ulrich, who gives it to our code enforcer, in our departments, and he'll got to research. It is a residential area, I believe, Jim, over there. It's R75.
It's all homes over there, yeah. If it's sold as a residential, you on that street.
So our code, we're going to look at the codes for that specific street, see what's going on in that specific house or residence or business, and have to.
Does a commercial business need a certain amount of parking spots for their employees? Because they have at least 10 in their driveway alone, and then they're spread out all over Grand Street and Halliday Street.
Correct. There's specific codes that need to be in effect for certain businesses. You know, a certain amount of spots, certain amount of space, certain areas you can't have a business. I mean, you can have an office in some of your houses, you can't run a business out of some of your houses. So
It was just turned around so quickly. I believe that house was for sale for a long time, and they lowered it. And I do have a little bit more to say.
So if you can just make sure before you leave, the clerk gets your phone number so we can follow up. Oh, you have it? Okay.
Yeah,
So Councilman, okay. So Councilman Hun will get back to you once we get some feedback from the code department.
Yeah, he also said it might be talked about maybe putting like a residential sign or only a sign for parking, because it's been getting because I live in a cul-de-sac.
Right.
They've been parking on the curve. They park all the way almost up to the Grand Street. The street sweeper asked the guy to move the car since he was in there. He denied it. He blew him off to pick up the leaves. He said they're coming to sweep the street one more time. If they're there, it's not going to happen. I mean, I take care of that street a lot. My neighbors are here too. They take care of the street a lot.
Mhm.
And I have 2 kids that play in the street. There's 2 kids across the street or that play in the cul-de-sac, and with the cars there, it's not going to be eligible to do that. Huh? Oh yeah, now the delivery trucks for Amazon, they have to pull
Right,
my
there's not-
driveway, pull up his driveway. It's just that
Right.
you walk from 8 a.m. to almost 8 o'clock at night. They walk in between the firehouse, the woods. It's dark over there. It's just...
Let us do our due diligence with the code department, and then we'll get back. Probably Amazon.
Amazon and UPS and FedEx, and even if there's the fire truck can't get down there because it's very tight now. So, just wanted to bring that point up. And that's all I have to say.
Great, thank you.
You said to talk to her when it's all done?
I
have email. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No problem. Thank you.
Daniel Fuchs, 333 Carolina Street. Also wondering where Sal is and if he's planning on coming to any more meetings. I suppose not, but I do also think he's watching. So I did want to read a quote from the OAG report to start. This is a quote from Sal. According to the OAG report, 2 things you can never count on: machines and the N racist word. That is one of many horrible things that Sal has said since I've been in this town for 4 years, since that's come out on recordings, and nobody has anything to say about that. Last time I talked about how much money was being spent and how you don't care about that. But how can we entrust Sal to run this town when that's how he speaks, when that's how he thinks? The report refers to a lot of misogynistic, anti-Semitic, and racist comments. I mean, are we kidding? It's the easiest thing to call out. You won't say anything. On top of that, there's been settlements, cover-ups. We saw today we have four law firms handling all different types of business. Our township attorney's being sued, so he can't partake in some of these and defend our town. We've had cops on years-long paid admin leave. We have allegations of Sal using town employees and resources for his personal business. We have benefit payments to members of council who were ineligible to receive them for years. We're talking millions of dollars. No question. I know I can ask you how much has been spent on all this, but you won't have an answer. And I know I can ask you how much is going to be spent on these lawyers, and you won't have an answer. And you know, that's not so bad. It's just the fact that it seems like you don't even care, because we're just flushing money down the toilet. Now, we were reassessed. Our property values went up, I don't know, 2 years ago. Then you passed a budget raising our taxes by almost 10%. It's what could we be doing better with that money than just completely wasting it? Did we even need, if all this wasn't going on, did we even need an increase? Seems like probably not. Sal is a racist, he's a bigot, he's a crook, he's got to go. And I'll keep coming back to every one of these meetings, and I know you'll sit there and ignore me, and you don't care, and that's fine, but I'm still going to call it out. He is a bad person. We need to say something. He's wasting our money, and he cannot be entrusted to oversee this town because of the way he talks about all different types of people that don't look like him. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fuchs.
Frank McCochet, 12 Kennedy Drive, Clark, New Jersey. First of all, thank you for supporting the PBA with a new contract. Those gentlemen worked very hard. They deserve it. It was great seeing the fire department running around town on Saturday. I think that was very nice, and I think DPW smartly got rid of the leaves before the monsoon rains. So I think that's good, and all public servants and our nurses also deserve to be appropriately supported. They're the lifeblood of what happens in a hospital. So all of our public service employees really do great work. The speed feedback signs. I was at this council meeting probably May of 22 asking for some speed feedback signs. They finally arrived in November, about 18 months later. I recognize there's a budget, there's procurement, there's installation. I think it's great. Maybe we had other needs for money for other things, so we couldn't ante up the $5,000 a sign that those signs cost. And I'm hoping that council has some plans for some more, working with the traffic engineer, working with the police department. I recognize that they do quite a bit. I don't know if there's yet any objective data that looks at before sign installation and after sign installation. How has that impacted the speed perceptions of the neighbors, or those signs, the Elon City signs, actually collect data, download them, look at it periodically, not every day, but once a week, once a month, or whatever, kind of provide some objective areas as to what we're doing with that. For those who don't know, those signs were installed at Meadow at Evans, Tudor at Stewart, and Lake between Hillcrest and Armstrong. I think they're effective, and I think they were very smartly programmed, that they cut off at around 35, 36 miles an hour, so you don't have people saying, gee, can I get it up to 90 miles an hour? So very smartly done. So thank you. Thank you to the police department for providing the guidance on that. The other thing are the RRFBs, rectangular rapid flashing beacons. The first pair is at Kennett and Westfield Avenue, right? They're pedestrian activated. Across the street, there's 7 more of them going in, 7 more locations in town. I think that's great, and I think that we got a county grant for that, so most of that money of acquisition was covered. Obviously, we're responsible for maintenance, et cetera. Hopefully, nobody runs them over. We talked about traffic calming before. I won't waste the time here. The other thing is, a couple of council meetings back, when it came to S Brothers getting their release of their money, we had talked about looking at that signage at Mildred and Brentwood. They probably need to be looked at, and that would be one of the things I'll reach out to you to get the traffic engineer to make a statement as to whether they're compliant with the MUTCD or not, Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices. It's an old one, 2009. There's a new one coming out soon. One of the things with the speed, right, we want to see what we can do with traffic calming because our police officers are busy. They were at my house, my neighbor's house, 1 a.m. on Sunday morning because there was somebody who decided to go shopping. So I think they do a great job. I think we had the entire police department there, 3 patrol cars on the overnight at 1 a.m. So great job, gentlemen. Took care of it, and I know they'll continue to do that. Rather than me being a broken record about speed, et cetera, let's find some solutions that allow our officers to be on patrol. Thank you. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Seeing no one else coming forward at this time, I'd like a motion to close this portion of the meeting. Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, at this time, we're going to move to closing comments. Being this is my last meeting as council president, I'd like to go first this evening. I'd like to offer my sincere condolences to the Merkel and the Bonacorso families for the tragic loss of Brian Merkel from an accident up in a Watchung reservation. Brian is the brother of Geraldine Bonacorso. and the brother-in-law to the mayor, as well as brother-in-law to our clerk, Edie Merkel. Community's outpouring of condolences and support for the families is heartfelt and compassionate, and our thoughts and prayers are with all of you during this time of grieving. I'd like to thank the clerk and the business administrator, as well as the council, for their support. The expertise and professionalism exhibited by the clerk's office has been instrumental in ensuring a smooth functioning of our council. The business administrator's strategic guidance has been invaluable in contributing to all the overall effectiveness of the council and the township. To my fellow council members, again, thank you for your support and dedication for our shared vision. As we move into 2024, the township continues to thrive and remains financially sound, so residents can enjoy high quality of these services and a sense of community and the infrastructure that comes with living in this community. With the recent release of the Attorney General's report concluding their almost 3.5-year investigation of the township, the Clark Council was found to have acted appropriately on the recommendation of our township attorney and insurance company in the matters that were all investigated. None of us sitting up here condone the words that were heard on those recordings 3 years ago, or actually longer than that, 6 or 7 years ago, which came out 3 years ago. The legal matter between Mayor Bonacorso and the state is a personal legal matter that is entitled to the due process of law. Balancing the best interests of the town and personal considerations is undoubtedly a complex task, and it is important in such situations to navigate the decisions with transparency, accountability, and a commitment to the welfare of this community. The fact that the council is dedicated to ensuring fair hearings for the police officers through the appointment of an independent hearing officer reflects our commitment to this due process and justice. As of today, we assure you that the council is focused on moving forward and acting in the best interest of the citizens, and this demonstrates a commitment to stability and progress. I'd like to wish everyone happy holidays and happy New Year, and we'll see you in the new year. At this time, I'll turn it over to Councilwoman Albanese.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bill Smith. I can't praise you enough for the outstanding job you've done once again this past year as council president. So thank you, thank you. As for your statement and comments, I really don't have anything to add to the situation, so I'll leave it at that. A few other comments I'd like to make. On December 4th, we approved the appointment of John Uzal as a member of the Clark Volunteer Fire Department. John, I wish you the best of luck as a member of the fire department, and a big thank you for your service to the township and to the citizens of Clark. I'd also like to thank all the citizens who were involved in decorating the town hall and the recreation center for the holiday celebration this past December, and to all the individuals involved in decorating their homes, and hopefully they'll participate in the contest that Ralph Bernardo is administering. And also a big thank you to Ralph for making the event so magical and special, and honestly beyond compare to any other town. To all the citizens of Clark, I wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a new year filled with happiness, joy, and love. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Hund?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to congratulate you on the year that you've done so far and dealt with the issues that we had throughout the year and are still dealing with now. You've done a good job with that. So again, thank you for that. James, I'll get back to you as soon as we have an update on the situation for you. I'll give you a call and let you know. And then just happy holidays and a happy new year. And everyone stay safe during that time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Mazzarella?
Yes, thank you, Council President. First, I'd like to thank you, Bill, for the outstanding job you have done as council president. It's been a rough year, and your kind demeanor and your professionalism really added to a sense of stability here on council and focus as a team. To all of the residents, please be aware that we're approaching, naturally, our holiday season. We're in our holiday season. You're out shopping, you come home, please make sure your doors are locked at all times. And if you're getting packages, try to make sure that either yourselves or you have a neighbor pick them up for you. We don't want to have anything stolen or any break-ins into your house or your vehicle. To all the residents, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, be safe, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Minetti?
Thank you, Council President. First of all, I would like to thank Councilman Bill Smith for his leadership as Council President this past year. Also want to thank the Business Administrator, Jim Ulrich, and the Clerk, Edie, for their hard work and unwavering commitment to our community. Finally, as many of you noticed, this past Saturday, the Clark Fire Department was around town with a special guest, Santa Claus. It's always a great day for our families, and I would like to thank the members of the Clark Fire Department, again, not only for what they do to keep our town safe, but making the joy of Christmas that much more special. Finally, I'd like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, a happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year.
Thank you. Councilman O'Connor?
Thank you very much. And again, it sounds like a broken record, but Bill, thanks very much. You did a great job this year. I appreciate all the time and dedication you did in preparation for the meetings, and thank you very much. With regard to the nurses that are here today, thank you for coming out. I can't imagine spending a day on the floor and then coming to a council meeting and spending an hour and a half here listening to township business. It's a hard job. My own personal feelings is the hospital system called you guys heroes during the pandemic, and then they turned around and said you lose your job if you didn't get the shot. So I think you've been treated unfairly, and I think what this bill that you're talking about asks for is, when you read through it, is anything anybody who would want their family to have in the hospital, right? We've all been in the hospital, or we had family members in the hospital, and hey, it was a good experience based on attentiveness of the nurses and staff, or it was bad. And it depended on how many people were in the hospital that day, and that shouldn't be. When you go in the hospital, you should have an expectation of, hey, this is what I expect, and this is what I should get. So thank you on behalf of myself and speaking for other people, all patients who believe they deserve to be treated fairly in the hospital. So thank you very much for this, okay? With the holidays coming, obviously, more people are going to be traveling, more people are being around, and I'm thinking more about the emergency squad, fire department. They're going to be out more because there's going to be more incidences, okay? Just remember, when they're out on a call, they're away from their families during the holiday time. So once again, thank you very much for the volunteerism we have in this town. Jim, Edie, great job this year. Thank you very much. And as well as the comments that Bill made, I was going to make some comments as well. However, Bill summed it up pretty well. Thank you, Bill. And I'm just going to defer to his comments. So thank you very much. Everyone, have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and have a great New Year. And we'll see you in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Toll?
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, kudos to you for a very difficult year and being honorable and a person who stood out above all. We appreciate everything you did, Bill. It was not an easy year. To Edie and her staff at the clerk's office, again, there's only one word. Thank you for all your time and your efforts to make us do our jobs properly and efficiently. And it's been a difficult year across the boards, too. Mr. Ulrich, thank you for everything you've been. Again, not an easy situation, but you've done nothing but professionally and 100%. We thank you for that. To Frank Majowski. Frank, I'm zoning out to you because the Union County Commissioners came in, we requested it, the residents along Madison Hill Road requested it, and that's what this is all about. A resident needed something or needs something. During 2022, I knocked on doors, and the residents say, well, I can't get my kid across Madison Hill Road, it's too busy. But now you have the county takes that long, government moves slow, and the county came in and they put beacons up now. So the moms can hit the button, flashes, and hopefully the people will slow down and stop. But now they have an extra assist to go from the residential side to the park, Esposito's Park. And that's what it's all about, taking a thought, an idea, and working it into reality through government. It might take some time, but we get it done. And that's all I'm going to say to you. It's the holidays. It was a difficult year, but we have to work because we believe and we care, and we'll continue building on the traditions of the past and working to build a better Clark. Happy holidays to everyone, a good healthy to the nurses. Thanks to you guys, what you do, you keep us moving forward, and we thank you, and you have my full support, and as well as the rest of this council. Thank you all, and a good, healthy, and happy holidays. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Jim, you have anything to add?
I just want to wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a great New Year, and look forward to, working through everything next year. And Bill, it was great working with you this year. All the communication back and forth, making sure everybody was updated and what was going on. You did a great job, in a difficult situation. So we also appreciate all the hard work you put in.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. President. It was a pleasure working with you again and the council. I appreciate all of you, and I just wish everybody a peaceful holiday season. Thanks.
Thank you. Counselor, you have anything?
Just wish everybody a very, very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Who was the first? Councilman Toll, and second, Councilman Albanese. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.